What you just heard is the sound that's going to change Pokemon FireRed Round 2 speedrunning forever. It's not often in speedrunning that something new is found that results in significant time save with no drawback or trade-off. This goes double for glitchless Pokemon speedruns, where runs have gotten so optimized that a discovery that constitutes as groundbreaking would be something as small as keeping Omanyte, a Pokemon that you obtain every run, in your party for the entire postgame section allows you to teach Waterfall to it instantly rather than teaching over a move on Blastoise, saving around 3 seconds once accounting for withdrawing Omanyte from the PC as well as the added Hall of Fame cutscene time. But today, that all changes. What I have to share with you today is by far the largest time save discovered in any Game Boy Pokemon game since RNG manipulation was found nearly a decade ago. This is huge, and I believe it's going to lead to a massive influx of runners playing FireRed Round 2 in the very near future. I hope after watching this video and learning exactly why this is such a monumental discovery, you'll be as excited as I am for what I believe to be the inevitable resurgence of my favorite speedrunning category. Now, in order to understand why this new discovery is so impactful, we first need a quick refresher on exactly what makes FireRed Round 2 a unique, separate category from regular FireRed Leaf Green glitchless runs. The goal of FireRed Round 2 is to beat the second, more powerful round of the Elite Four. They beef up their teams with new Pokemon, better movesets, and much higher levels. Their teams are so strong that it actually becomes worth it to take the entire 3+ minute detour through Cerulean Cave to get Mewtwo, just to use it for the 5 remaining fights in Elite Four Round 2. The Elite Four members will only decide it's time to go Super Saiyan after the player completes a few side quests in the Gen 3 remake exclusive Sevi Islands. In order to unlock these side quests, you must complete 2 objectives, beating the Elite Four once and unlocking the National Dex. However, and this is the most important part, to unlock the National Dex, you must first capture 60 unique Pokemon and then speak to Professor Oak. This means, for example, that evolving your starter Squirtle to Wartortle to Blastoise would count as 3 Pokemon towards this goal, but catching 2 Pidgeys would only count as 1. For both runners and speedrunning fans, this makes for an extremely fun and interesting speedrun with lots of on-the-fly decision-making, because you have to balance going as fast as possible with ensuring that you obtain enough Pokemon by the time you're ready to head into the postgame. The exact numbers will change with each individual run, but you can expect to actually capture around 30 wild Pokemon with standard ball catching throughout a run. This means you'll wind up using a combination of catching Pokemon in the wild, evolving Pokemon with evolution stones or rare candies, trading with in-game NPCs, and obtaining event Pokemon like Eevee or the fossils to make it all the way to 60 total Pokemon. Now that you're all caught up with exactly what Round 2 refers to, this is where the clip that you saw at the beginning of the video comes into play. Each time we catch a Pokemon, a few things will occur. A fanfare plays accompanied by the "Gotcha" message telling you that you've successfully captured a Pokemon. A new Pokedex entry is made, and the game asks you if you'd like to nickname the Pokemon that you just caught. With the recent release of FireRed Leaf Green on the Switch, the perfect storm has brewed, where people all over the world have watched this exact sequence play out thousands, maybe even millions of times. I think it's safe to say that without the new Switch release, this discovery probably never would have been found. And out of all of those players, exactly one is the hero of our story today. He goes by the name Clemmy, and what he found is truly astonishing. As soon as I found out what was happening, I did what any normal person would do and messaged a complete stranger on Discord to get the full scoop directly from the source. Clemmy told me this. He got the new FireRed Leaf Green port on Switch shortly after its release, and like any experienced and cultured gamer would, he spent a few days resetting in front of the starter balls trying to get a Charmander that had good enough stats to start his playthrough with, a struggle that I can relate to greatly. On one of his hundreds of attempts at getting a Charmander that met his distinguished palate, he accidentally hit the L button and brought up this menu. When I'm speedrunning, I accidentally hit the Game Boy shoulder buttons with my fat, stupid fingers all the time, so I can totally understand how this would happen after spending all those hours in the lab. And this is when he first noticed that something was off. The sound that normally plays when you obtain a Charmander just didn't play. Here, I'll play the same part again, but this time without pressing the L button. At first, he thought he was crazy, or that there was some sort of Switch-specific audio bug, and didn't think too much of it. After finally obtaining a good enough Charmander to start playing through the game, Clemmy continued on his playthrough just like any other player would. That is until, like many of us have in the past, he decided to catch a Mankey on Route 22 to try to better handle Brock's rock Pokemon with his poor Fire-type Charmander. And that's when the magic finally happened, and Clemmy pieced together the biggest time save in nearly a decade of Pokemon speedrunning. Once again, completely by accident, Clemmy pressed L just as he captured Mankey and brought up the help menu we saw in the lab before. Except this time, when he exited the menu, he found that the Pokemon captured fanfare just didn't play. But unlike what happened in the lab, he was instantly able to continue to the Pokedex entry screen. He impressively immediately realized that he'd found something groundbreaking. This was it, the discovery that was going to change FireRed Round 2 speedrunning forever. This trick should honestly be called Clemmy Skip because of how incredible it is that he found and instantly realized the potential in what he had just discovered. Clemmy Skip has completely insane implications for the FireRed Round 2 speedrun. Just look at this comparison using the trick versus letting the fanfare play out as normal. This means that for each wild Pokemon you capture, you can save up to 161 frames or 2.68 seconds if you execute Clemmy Skip perfectly. Remember, we capture 30 or more wild Pokemon on each run. That means that combined with the 1 or 2 other places where this applies, and depending on how many wild Pokemon you catch in a given run, this trick works out to save nearly 1.5 minutes across an entire FireRed Round 2 speedrun. First and second place in FireRed Round 2 are only separated by 18 seconds. Another way to think about this is that it allows you to get 8 or 9 completely wasted encounters and still achieve the same time. My world record is in serious danger. And beyond the massive, unprecedented time save, this trick opens up some potential routing implications as well. Does taking the old Amber and reviving it into Aerodactyl have less value now that it takes longer by comparison than just catching a wild Pokemon? Does it become worth camping in areas with a lower chance of getting a good encounter? Is Safari Zone our new permanent home? We'll just have to wait and see how runners optimize speedruns around this new way of approaching things. Alright, my excitement over all the possibilities in a post-Clemmy Skip world aside, I gotta slow down for just a second and give huge props to Clemmy. He's a bit of a speedrunner himself, even holding world records and top 3 times across various speedrunning categories. He's had an interest in speedrunning for a while now, and he told me that he enjoys watching Pokemon speedrunners such as Flareon1693, Shiro666, Keeping It Icy, Amoeba UK, and Bangyang Gook, who are all excellent Pokemon speedrunners who you should give a follow to. I can't help but notice I wasn't on his list, but that just means I need to do better, right? Thankfully for us, because of Clemmy's knowledge and interest in speedrunning, he discovered this new time save and almost immediately went and found the Pokemon speedrunning Discord and posted this. Notice the wow from Pokeguy. That's how you know something huge is going down. After Clemmy's incredible discovery was posted, the community immediately went into full frenzy mode. After distinguished runner Mockwing confirmed that Clemmy Skip did indeed work on the original Game Boy copies of FireRed Leaf Green, the community went and scoured the entire game to find any other place where this trick might save time. Unfortunately, most places where you could imagine this trick could possibly save time didn't wind up working. For example, you can use the trick to pick up an item ball, and it does skip the jingle that plays, but the player is frozen in place picking up the item for the same amount of time they would be normally. The same applies to Pokemon Centers, the sound that plays when you get a new badge, and other similar scenarios. However, there was one more place the community uncovered where this trick does save time. This was, predictably, the catching tutorial cutscene at the beginning of the game. You can use the trick to skip Weedle's gotcha fanfare, even though it's technically the old man catching the Pokemon. Props to the gamers who put the work in to successfully find an additional time save the same day this trick was found. Speedrunners are some of the most dedicated and thorough gamers on the planet, and I have huge respect for anyone who puts the work in to think outside the box to find new ways to save time. And with this, FireRed Round 2 has been blown completely open. I got the world record in FireRed Round 2 about 8 months ago, and it really looked like that run was going to stand for a long time. But now, it's ripe for the taking. So now the question is, who is it going to be? And that brings us to the end of the video. But don't click off just yet. I have a huge announcement related to my stream and FireRed Round 2. Pokeguy and I here are extremely excited to have a reason to play FireRed Round 2 again. And that's why this week we'll be doing our first ever co-op subathon live on Twitch and YouTube. I'm talking a maximum of a full week, 24 hours straight, every single day of pure world record attempts in FireRed Round 2 with a new incentive for reaching each new day. These incentives will include things like shaving my head, streaming one of our trips to the gym, and more. We'll be starting at midnight Central Time on Tuesday, March 16th, which is 6 hours after this video goes live. Don't miss it. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's by far the most effort I've ever put into one, so please let me know in the comments if you'd like to see more content like this. And with that, I'll see you on stream soon.